Good morning, everyone. Welcome. So my name's Stacey. I am a director at Quiet Connections, and we are so excited to welcome Grace here this morning to deliver this workshop in overcoming the fear of not being good enough in your career. So if you're new to Quiet Connections, I'll just share a little bit about who we are and the work that we do. So we are based in Cornwall in the UK, and we support people who are naturally quieter, perhaps a bit more introverted, and who are experiencing anxieties in those like day-to-day situations, such as being in the workplace, progressing in our careers, education, even socializing with friends and family. And we work with people to help overcome those feelings of social anxieties, help manage those anxieties, to grow our quiet confidence. And most importantly, it's about learning to appreciate and recognize that our quieter qualities are really our strengths, that they are beautiful gifts that we can offer the world, that they're much needed within our society, and that when we learn to recognize that there is beauty in that, then we can really learn to love ourselves and accept ourselves and really make the most of what we have to offer. So we work doing one-to-one coaching, we do workshops, courses, and we also have a wonderful quiet community which is free to join, and at the end of this session you will be redirected to a link to sign up to that if you'd like to be a member and experience that peer support from other people who are also feeling the same way as you are. So that's my little introduction. I will do a little bit of housekeeping just before I pass you on over to Grace. So this workshop is recorded, but you are not on camera or on microphone, but I really do invite you to share any thoughts, any questions, any reflections throughout this workshop in the chat area. Please do say hello. I can already see some of you saying hi. It's nice to see all of you discussing already. That's lovely. I'm sure, Grace, you'll be communicating with people throughout the chat, throughout this. That's great. We also have Hayley here in the chat as well. She's under Team QC. So we'll both be kind of dipping in the chat as well and responding to you there. I think that's it from me. So if you are ready, Grace, I'll pop off camera and pass on over to you.
Great, thanks.
Lovely. All right. See you in a minute.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So, welcome. Just to introduce myself. So I am Grace, like they said, and I'm CEO of an organisation called PAPER Arts CIC, which is a social enterprise based in Bristol, and we support young creatives between the ages of 18 and 30 to establish careers. So it's a super exciting organisation, and I really love the work that we're doing. Somehow have ended up in this CEO role, which is why this workshop is very fitting. So it's great to be here today, and I'm going to be sharing a little bit about my story, my struggles, and the way I kind of view imposter syndrome. I've got some slides to help me explore that, and then I've got some little activities for us to do to all work through together, because I was saying to Hayley and Stacey at the beginning, to be honest, I need to do some of these myself. So we're gonna work through this together, and in the next hour just have some time to think about imposter syndrome and reflect on it ourselves, and just see where we get to. So I thought actually to start with, we can do like a little poll about which I'm going to put in the chat, about how many people, yes, thank you, how many people experience imposter syndrome. What do you think? This is something I didn't know. Interesting. Okay. So, most of you got it right, actually. It is 70%, would you believe? Like, beyond anything I thought, but also very comforting to know that actually I'm not and you're not alone in this. So, It's actually very common, which is interesting. So to start with, I thought it would be good. You can see here on the screen, I did a little picture of me and drew some glasses and a moustache on as a bit of a joke of me as an imposter. And I thought for the first 5 minutes, it might just be good for well, maybe 3 minutes or so, to draw our own little selves and draw a little mask or some glasses and a moustache on you as your own little imposter, to keep an eye on throughout the session. So I'll give you a few minutes to do that. Also, some time to go and grab some pens and paper, because we'll be doing lots of little bits of writing and drawing throughout the session. So yeah, I'll leave you to do that for a few minutes, and then I'll come back and show you what I've done. Hi, Melly. We're just doing a quick little drawing, each of us, like one on the screen, where you're just drawing a little picture of you and then some glasses and a moustache or a mask or something, as your own little imposter. Okay, so just to show you what I've done. Oh no, there we go, I've got it. Little me. So obviously did the glasses and moustache, and then added a little hat too, as my own little mini imposter. So yeah, there's absolutely no pressure with drawings. Obviously I can't see what you've done, no one else can see, so it's just for your own entertainment. I forgot to say as well, but yeah, if you have any questions like whilst I'm going along through the session, feel free to put them in the chat. But I've also allocated a bit of time at the end for a Q&A, so if you want to save them up for then as well, you can. Whatever works best for you. Okay, cool. So imposter syndrome. This this is a good way to sort of refer to how I view other people in my working environment, to explain imposter syndrome. So obviously on the left here we've got my peers / everyone else who ever existed ever in the whole entire world, as this, you know, majestic, beautiful painting of like, you know, a wonderful unicorn, and then you've got me on the right hand side, which is just desperately trying to be a unicorn, but it's essentially just a horse with a coat, and that really sums up how I feel. A lot of the time it feels a bit like I'm maybe mimicking what I feel like I should be doing in my role, especially as CEO, rather than feeling that actually I am a CEO. It's an interesting title to have when you suffer from imposter syndrome. And yeah, I just thought that was quite a good way to visualize how I experience it. So these are some of the classic thoughts that I have a lot of the time. Number one is, of course, I'm not as capable as people think I am. So I always worry a little bit that I'm going to get found out because people think I'm better or more impressive than I actually am. There's a disparity between Grace, who people see, who's CEO of this organization and does all these cool things, and then Grace, who struggles with work every so often and sometimes can't do tasks, and it feels not very capable some of the time. So that's a classic thought. This is also an interesting one. So any praise and recognition actually leads to discounting success. So I feel like a lot of the time if I've achieved something, it's kind of like I kind of want to achieve things, and then people, when they're like, oh, well done, or that's really good, I'm like, no, not really, like I could have done better. Or there's never any kind of point where I feel like I've got somewhere and then someone's like, well done, and I'm like, yes. You know what well done me? It's actually like, oh, but not really, like you should have seen all the struggles that led up to that. So actually, because I struggled a little bit, I don't really deserve the praise. So that's also an interesting thought. And yeah, then this, absolutely, my success is due to luck and nothing else. I feel like it's very easy to fall into this trap, particularly if you're someone who maybe struggles with self-confidence and feeling insecure, not recognizing your strengths. You can just put things down to luck and coincidence, and that takes a lot away from you. You sort of put it aside and say, oh, it's luck, rather than anything to do with you personally, which obviously it absolutely is, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like that. So this is kind of the vicious cycle that I especially go through, but also something that I found on the internet, a bit of a classic imposter syndrome cycle. So you start at the top with the pink circle. It talks about feeling like a fraud, how feeling like a fraud can actually inspire greater effort and conscientiousness. So because you have those feelings, like you want to do better and you're super self-aware of your flaws, so you really want to try to improve, and because of that, actually that can lead to more success and promotion, because you tend to do better if you really want to and you feel like you need to work hard, and so you get to that, you make the success, you make the promotion, and then you kind of have even more feelings of being an imposter because that hasn't gone away. So you continue the cycle, and then next time you kind of you feel like you have to up your game even more because you're an imposter and put more effort in, but then that leads to more success. And the thing is, I think it's really important to realize that it is a bit of a vicious cycle and it's not something that ends. I don't think we ever get to the stage where we'll achieve something or get to a particular role or position and feel like, this is it, I'm no longer an imposter, because I can tell you now, like, I'm in a CEO role and I still feel like that a lot of the time. So yeah, recognizing the cycle, I think, is really important. And alongside that, the other thing I've picked up on whilst putting together stuff for this workshop is actually it's a bit of a lose-lose situation. So when you fail at anything, which obviously is actually sometimes a good thing, there are always learnings within that. My kind of automatic reaction is, I'm stupid, I'm terrible, I'll never succeed, like, what am I going to do? No. But then actually when I do succeed, I get those anxious feelings, you know, did I trick everyone somehow? I'm going to let people down. I'm going to get found out. Oh no. So actually, whether I fail or succeed, I have very similar reactions in that. I'm not able to either just kind of accept those failures and learn from them, and I find it difficult to accept success and kind of reinforce my confidence in that way. So these are just things that I now have to be much more aware of in my working environment. And I think that's the thing to note is, like you saw in the poll, 70% of people struggle with this, so we're not alone in it. I think the important thing is just being aware of it and recognizing those signs so that you can pick up on them, and rather than feeling like you are an imposter and you're going to get found out or whatever it is, that label it as imposter syndrome. And I'll cover that in actually some tips that we're going to go through. Oh yeah, public service announcement. So this slide's interesting. So obviously I wrote don't equate expertise with infallibility, which is basically about you can be an expert and also be capable of getting things wrong. However, quite ironically, the second sentence says we can be both, which actually doesn't make sense, which my partner then very lovingly revealed to me about half an hour before the workshop started, so it's all great. But I think it's quite ironic actually, because it's so true that you can call yourself an expert in something, you can be a great person at some role or a skill, but also make mistakes. And actually, to flip that, you can make mistakes and get things wrong and still be an expert, or still be a super great leader or teacher or whatever it is. And I think it's really important that we disrupt that narrative that feels like maybe you have to be perfect to be great, which just is not, it's not the case, because it's just not human. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, here we go. This is me battling my imposter syndrome to provide 5 tips for you to battle your imposter syndrome. I put together a bit of a worksheet which has these tips on, and also a little like the activities that we're going to do. So I'm just going to pop this in the chat for you to download when and if you would like to. So first one is definitely talk about it. For me, anything in regards to mental health stuffs, talking is so important, and sometimes and often the most difficult part, actually being vulnerable to open up to someone and say, this is something that I'm feeling. I think it's, yeah, and whenever anyone does that to me and is super honest and vulnerable, I always feel like they're so courageous, and I think that's something that I try and remember, and trying to lead by example, I guess, a little bit, and so share my own struggles with other people so that we can kind of make it a bit more normal to do so. But it's still very difficult. But yeah, I think, as we found that in that poll, if 70% of people struggle with this, we're definitely not alone. So sometimes just sharing those feelings either with a friend or maybe a colleague, if it's a work setting, someone that you're close with at work, who can maybe give you some positive feedback, or yeah, talking is not to be underestimated. Okay, number 2, yeah, understand. So like I said before, there's something about recognizing these signs and labeling them as imposter syndrome and sort of compartmentalizing it. because it is a thing, it is very well researched, and actually having that knowledge can help you disrupt the negative script in your mind where you sort of go on and on about feeling like having these feelings and feeling insecure in your position and all of those things. If you can sort of, I know beforehand when I've sort of gone down on that track, the never-ending road of doom, and I kind of recognize it and go, actually, stop. Like, this sounds like imposter syndrome. This is what this is. This is not actually fact. And that really helps me to sort of, I guess, make sure that it doesn't affect me too much. Yeah. Number 3, triggers. Yes, very important to know and recognize these. Either so you know what situations to maybe avoid or put yourself in less often, or just so you know that, okay, if I do this thing, chances are I'm going to react and feel this way. So for me, group activities I tend to struggle with, and networking events, mainly because of that comparison with other people. I heard a quote once that said, like, comparison is the thief of joy, and that's quite true with me, which, yeah, it's, I think when you're in those work environments where it's all about sort of showcasing yourself, you want to make connections, you want to meet people, you want to give off a good impression, it all feels a bit like putting a bit of a mask on. And I think especially when you're more introverted, and if you suffer with social anxiety, if you already feel like going into social situations like I do sometimes, that I have to put on a bit of a extrovert mask, if you like, obviously you're going to feel a bit like an imposter. So yeah, I'm just aware of that now, and I just be extra super kind to myself. Oh, I don't know if you can hear lovely playing in the background there. But yeah, so knowing your triggers is really good. Number 4, record achievements. Okay, so this is my like emotional side of my brain versus the logical side of my brain. So the logic is write down list of my achievements, keep it somewhere, add to it. Then when I have these feelings of feeling like I know nothing, I'm a fraud, I'm not capable as people think I am, I get out this list and I can look and just read and be like, well, actually I achieved this and I did this and actually I did that too, and I did do this. So, you know, to help sort of counteract those thoughts, I think we can very easily dismiss achievements, and it's actually, particularly for people who do that, it's even more important that you record them. And need to take my own advice here, but we're actually going to do a bit of that with one of the activities that we do, so I'll have no choice but to do it then. And yeah, final tip is about thinking good enough. So rather than striving for perfection, which I've now decided isn't possible, because like I said, we're human and humans aren't perfect. That is just how it goes. Think like good enough. So are you good enough for this role? If it's in a work context, you don't have to be perfect. Are you good enough? Did you do well enough in this task? Did you give what you could? And that's enough. One thing I always find really helpful is the 80-20 rule, which I think my dad maybe shared with me, about this 80%, 20%. So in a task, or more widely in a role, job, whatever, you can aim to give 80%. 100% isn't realistic. 80% is what you can do. And then there's that 20% that's just lax, that maybe you don't complete a task to the absolute best of your ability, or you don't produce a report that's super amazing, but it's 80% there. And that's something that I think is really helpful to take with you, particularly in a work environment when maybe, particularly if it's a stressful job, you have tighter deadlines. Rather than beating yourself up if something isn't super perfect, just make it good enough and give 80% of your effort, and chances are that will be more than enough. It's worked out okay for me so far. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. So thanks Hayley, she knows. So when I got this job, it wasn't through the sort of typical recruitment. So I was originally in the role of operations and projects manager, and then the opportunity came up to step up and take on the sort of top leadership role. And so I submitted a proposal to the board, somehow convinced them to give me the job. And then I got landed with this title, which was CEO, which was very surreal for me. And for a while, it was freaking me out a little bit. And then what I decided to do was just get out the job description, sit down, look at the responsibilities of the job role, and just go through them one by one. And rather than get distracted by maybe what I feel like a CEO should be or what I should know to be in that role, I just went through each of the responsibilities and thought to myself, can I do this? Yes, I can. Essentially like a bit of a checklist. Can I do this? Yes, I can. Well, yes, I can do that. Yes, I can. And that helps me to feel really grounded in my role, because I could literally do the job description that was there. So there was no reason for me not to be in and take on the role. And so tasks like tasks like that are really, really helpful to do, just to ground yourself a bit more. Yeah. Okay. So, kind of off the back of that, for the first exercise, going to do a bit of being our own cheerleader. So I like to think of this because I've put about listing our skills and achievements, but to be honest, if I just listed my skills and achievements, I would maybe struggle. Whereas if I think of being a cheerleader for Grace, so I'm thinking of like someone on the sides here who's like with the little pom poms going like, "Woo, go Grace!" And from their perspective, I try and think about what they would say all my skills and achievements are. So I thought we'd just spend 10 minutes having a bit of time to ourselves to reflect on everything that we've done up until now. So this can be in your personal life, it can be within your work, within your job role, whatever seems most relevant to you right now. But yeah, we're going to spend 10 minutes just writing a list of your skills, so what you bring to the table as a person. We're all unique and we all have different skills. That's why we're so great. And specific things that you've achieved. And I think it's really important to break that down. So don't necessarily just say this one thing, like I completed this project, because actually something like completing a project takes a lot of little mini achievements. So actually it's even more important to note down those as well as the big ones. So yeah, I'll give you some time and then probably switch off my camera for a bit and come back. We can move on to the next activity. Feel free to add any questions in the chat if you need anything explained a bit more. chip in and say here that if anyone's struggling to think of things or know where to start, because I was feeling a little bit like that just then, that actually starting with the past week is a really good way. So literally like the last what was it, Thursday, since Monday, if you just think about each day, all the little things that you did, that's a really good place to start wrapping stuff up. Okay, great. Thanks for doing that one. I hope you got a little bit from it. I can see Carlotta's put a question, and I know that Hayley knows the answer to this, so hopefully Team QC can respond to that, because I was wondering the same thing actually before I had a conversation with Hayley. I think she might know the exact numbers. Okay, so activity 2 should have gone to Specsavers, I've called this one, but it's all about like a shift in perspective. So rather than thinking about you where you are now, I want us to have a think about how others perceive us, and remember positive things that people have said about you. So you might want to do what I've done, which is I've literally just drawn a pair of glasses here. Great drawing. And then just write around the frames. It could be quotes, what you can remember, nice things people have said about you, or just things, how you feel your friends perceive you, any really close colleagues that you have at work, who are your sort of people that lift you up, and what have they said about you. We'll probably spend about 5 minutes or so on this one, and then come back. But yeah, I actually have in my inbox a folder that's called praise, and whenever someone replies to say something nice about something I've done, it gets popped into the praise folder, and then I have that there to dip into when I need to, which is a bit like this. Oh, Katie, good one. Positivity document. I like that. Yeah, very, very good idea. So yeah, have a go at writing some of those things down, and then I'll come back in about 5 minutes. this activity? Okay, great. And final activity for today is about reflecting and reframing. So this is hopefully going to utilise some of the bits that have come up in the last couple of exercises you've done. So I want you to write down one of your biggest insecurities in this context. So when it comes down to your job or your career or just general life aspirations, so whether that's where you are now, in your role, or where you hope to get to, and then to literally turn that upside down so you can turn it on its head, and draw a frame around it, and to reframe that thought. So think about a positive outlook on the insecurity. So that might mean taking some of those bits from that list of your skills and achievements and the positive things that people have said about you, to either counteract that insecurity, or to pick up on the positives that are actually a good thing about it, the flip side. So just to show what I've done, so I've literally just written, I don't know if it's a mirror, but very simple frame here, and my one is just a classic, I don't deserve to be in this role. So what I'm going to do now is turn that upside down, just as it helps me visualize turning it upside down on its head, and thinking about actually why I do deserve to be in this role. And I'm definitely going to be utilizing some of those skills and probably mostly the positive things people have said about me to help frame it in a different way. So yeah, again, if we spend maybe about 5 minutes or so starting on this, it's actually quite a big exercise. So likewise with all of these, to be honest, it's something you can go on and continue yourself after the workshop. Maybe pop it out to a cafe or grab a coffee at home or whatever and sit down and have a little play with it. Yeah, I'll come back in about 5 minutes and then we'll have some time for a little bit of a Q&A. Okay, we'll spend 1 more minute on this. Okay. I'm back. Yes. Great. Thank you. Thanks for doing those activities with me. I found them quite helpful actually, but it's definitely going to carry on working on them. So I hope that you found them a little bit helpful too. I was just going to give some time now if anyone had any questions that you wanted to type in the chat box, either about me or what I do or about imposter syndrome, and I can try and give good answers. No worries if not. Just wanted to give some space people. I also just wanted to share this quote with you to end, which is by someone called Marianne Williamson, which is from a poem that I actually got introduced to years ago when I was at school, and was first starting to struggle with my mental health, and someone shared this poem with me, and I actually, when I was putting these slides together, thought to revisit it because it just came into my mind, and actually I'm so glad I did because I really love this quote. So you can read it obviously, but it says, our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? Yeah, I really love this one. Stacey, do I have any tips for how I manage imposterism in the moment? Like a quick technique? Good question. To be honest, mostly through talking to other people because I need to get better at recognizing it myself. So usually it either comes up when I share just I'm open about how I'm feeling, with my team even that I work with, and saying, oh, I don't know if this went well, or oh, I don't know if I can do this, and they're very quick to come back and be like, no, you can, absolutely. And I've said something else that I completely forgot then. Oh yeah, just being open about it actually. Like I said about one of my triggers being group activities and networking events. What I've learned now is to just go into those environments, and be open and willing to be vulnerable about how I'm feeling, and actually just say to someone like, like, isn't this funny? Like, I don't know, or I don't feel like I should be here. I feel a bit out of place. That kind of thing, of actually just being open about it. And that's the best way, ironically, to make connections, particularly when networking, which, like I said, is one of the key triggers for my imposter syndrome. So actually, how I deal with it in the moment is I just be open about it and talk to other people. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I love that. Tuning into what's important gives you the courage to show up. Absolutely, your values are key. I think that's also one of the things that, particularly in your job and career, that's something my values really align with my job role and what I'm trying to do. And so that's a perfect fit. That's a massive reason to be in this job, because if your values fit with what you're doing, then you're gonna go far because you've got that deeper connection. It's not just you doing tasks because it's actually your values align, which yeah, it's really important. Cool. I think that's everything for today then. If no one's got any more questions, if you do want to reach out for whatever reason, I don't know. Oh, Rob, how do you get yourself to believe nice things people say about you instead of just thinking they're being kind or generous? Yeah, that's such a good question. Very good question. I think sometimes I just have to make that choice. And I guess I know, like, kind of as years have gone on and I've gotten to know myself and my insecurities more and my anxieties more, I've learned to trust other people's opinions, because there hasn't really been a time when someone said something positive about me and it's turned out to be wrong, or for whatever reason. I can never find solid enough evidence to believe that what they're actually saying is just them being overly kind or generous. People being kind is fine. Like, I think people should be kind, and that shouldn't discount what they're saying. But yeah, I just had to make a decision to trust people's judgment, because yeah, if you don't, then that becomes really tough. Really tough, yeah. But absolutely, I understand where you're coming from. It's a daily battle, but yeah, as much as possible, I try and trust other people, particularly those who I'm close with and have known for years, because I know that they've known me for years. So I guess sometimes their praise and positivity feels more valid in a way. But yeah, thank you so much to yeah, that's so true. I don't give fake praise, absolutely not. Thank you so much to everyone for coming and listening to me speak. I hope it was a tiny bit helpful. And yeah, like I said, my links are on the screen to Paper Arts and my Twitter handle, Instagram handle, and LinkedIn. So yeah, feel free to reach out if you would like to. But otherwise, yeah, thanks so much for coming. Stacey, do you want to take over now?
I just wanted to say thank you to you, Grace, for sharing everything in this workshop, sharing your experiences and going through these exercises and techniques with us, because they're really great exercises to go through. And like you said, continue to explore these in your own time and come back to them. Use them on a regular basis is like the best thing to do. So yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. And like we said earlier, after this session ends, you'll be redirected to come and join us in our quiet community if you'd like to continue, this support for yourself and be with other people who are on this same journey, have that support from one another, be there for each other. And also you can find lots of other additional resources that we have here at Quiet Connection. So we've got a free podcast, we've got other workshops that you can attend, and also you can explore perhaps looking at maybe some one-to-one coaching to really dig deep into some of these issues yourself. So please do come and join us and be a part of our community. And thank you again, Grace. It's been such a wonderful workshop.
Thanks.